Assembly elections in Jammu and Kashmir. That's the surprise sprung today by the Election Commission. The first phase of these elections will be on the 20th of August, the second, the 29th of August, and the third phase on the 5th of September. Now, the Election Commission has complied with the Supreme Court's directive for elections to be held in J&K by the 30th of September. This will be the first Jammu and Kashmir elections in a decade, the state elections that is, and it will be 5 years since the abrogation of Article 370. Since then, things have changed on the ground, but given the security situation, all candidates will require security cover. That's what makes the Jammu and Kashmir Assembly elections different from all the other elections that are due to be held over the next couple of months. Take, for instance, the EC's estimates that something like 15 to 20 candidates are likely to contest from each constituency. There are a total of 90 seats in the assembly. That means 16,000 security personnel will be needed just for the security cover of all the candidates. So the questions we are asking today about the Jammu and Kashmir elections are, firstly, is Jammu and Kashmir ready for assembly elections? What do these elections mean for the restoration of full statehood for the Union Territory? How does the recent spurt of terror attacks impact these upcoming assembly polls? And joining me to discuss this are Mr. S.P. Vaid, former Director General of Police, Jammu and Kashmir, Lieutenant General Sanjay Kulkarni, defense expert and former DG Infantry, and in the studio here with me is my colleague Aditya Raj Kaul. Aditya, surprise, historic announcement today. Election Commission's call for elections in Jammu and Kashmir. And General Munir seems to have had a similar epiphany when he's planned these attacks in Jammu, exactly what we've been talking over the last couple of weeks. The terror attacks in Jammu seem to have been timed with the declaration of elections in the state. What are the biggest challenges going to be, apart from law and order, maintaining security in these assembly elections?
You know, Sandeep, first a confession, even I had not predicted that the dates would be announced today. Although there was a speculation for the last few weeks,
yes,
we were being told that the dates would be announced. But, you know, politicians in Jammu and Kashmir,
right,
and people who watch Jammu
everyone's
and Kashmir,
taken by surprise.
We are taken by surprise. In fact, since morning today, I
yes,
received phone calls from some politicians in Kashmir,
right,
asking me that what is the inside gossip that you're hearing. Right. I told them that, you know, I have heard that the dates are being announced,
yes,
but I personally don't believe
yes,
the speculation. Finally, the dates are out. I had also thought that, you know, Amarnath Yatra is underway.
yes,
There's a huge component of security detail that's already there, the
right,
paramilitary companies,
right,
and that would be now utilized,
yes,
for the three-phase election that will happen in September and October. Security is the most important factor when
absolutely,
it comes to Jammu and Kashmir.
Number one.
As someone who has covered the assembly elections in December 2014,
yes,
I can tell you that it's of immense significance. You know, all the candidates across party lines want the security to be
yes,
there, and now the EC has assured
right,
that the same would happen. Apart from that, of course, there are internal and external factors that are very significant and important.
yes,
There is the Pakistan factor, the new front that has been opened in Jammu,
yes,
which is of significance. But I think the biggest headline from today's press conference,
right,
is the restoration of democracy,
yes,
the electoral democracy that is going to happen in Jammu and Kashmir. It not only sends a resounding message internationally,
yes,
that India confirmed that elections will happen,
right,
and 5 years after the nullification of Article 370,
yes,
once there is certain kind of an order,
right,
you know, bureaucracy is in place, now we'll have elections and a government that will come into power. But then second biggest question that
yes,
perhaps we will discuss later is the political connotation of this.
yes,
The political challenge for the BJP, because at this moment,
right,
in Kashmir, National Conference is on a very strong wicket.
yes,
In Jammu, BJP is on a very strong wicket, but none of the regional of the political parties alone can form the government.
right,
So will we see a NC-BJP
right,
come in like BJP-PDP, or will we see an India alliance government,
yes,
where National Conference, Congress and perhaps a few independents come together?
absolutely. And you know, well put, Aditya. The fact that you know, elections in Jammu and Kashmir are a completely different ball game, because I don't think there's any other assembly election in India that gets international attention,
absolutely,
as the Jammu and Kashmir elections do. And it's well and good that the Election Commission has decided to call these elections as soon as possible. I think enthused by the response in the Lok Sabha.
And you know, sorry to cut you short. But the expectations are higher this time.
Yes.
You know, the successful Lok Sabha elections that have happened,
Absolutely.
in which you have almost 60% voting,
Yes.
unprecedented. You know, even the boycott vote
Right.
has been put in a certain way. So the question is, will Engineer Rashid also contest assembly elections? Will he have his own candidates out there and perhaps be a part of the government later?
Will Engineer Rashid also contest? But that's a topic that we will take up shortly. But I want to ask Mr. S.P. Vaid this. Mr. Vaid, the number one challenge for these elections, the surprise elections that the Election Commission has called for, is going to be security. How confident are the police and the paramilitary forces and of course the Indian Army of handling the task of protecting all these candidates that are going to contest in this three-phase election?
Good evening, Sandeep. In fact, holding election in Jammu Kashmir is always a challenge. I have been through many elections in different, whether it is 1995 Parliament election, 96 Assembly election, 2002 Assembly election, and a subsequent election. Why I mentioned these two? Because after all hell broke down in 1990 in Kashmir, after 6 years of governor's rule, the first time 1996, it was bringing a political government was in fact a very big challenge for all those who were working at that time, and we were able to successfully conduct 2002 election also. Why I'm mentioning 2002, 2001 and 2, in all the 35 years of terrorism, were the peak years of terrorism. You take any criteria of violence. It was the highest 2001 and 2. And even at that time, elections were conducted.
Right.
We have very well laid out SOP. You have to protect all the candidates, and on an average, as you were mentioning, in each assembly, you have about 15 to 20 candidates.
Right.
Roughly, let's take an average of 15 to 16. So that means 90 assembly constituencies means if you multiply by 20, so it will be roughly how much? 90 into 20.
It's almost 80. A division-sized force that would be required only to protect the candidates. 16,000 security force.
Candidate has to be protected, because if candidate is harmed, the election gets countermanded, and we have a SOP that each candidate has to be provided a bulletproof vehicle and also an escort vehicle. Then not only protection of the candidates, you have to see that they have to campaign, they have to interact in their assembly constituency, and rallies have to be conducted. They have to go door to door for campaigning. Now you need to cover all those areas where they have to go for campaigning. Simultaneously, even the areas where he has to travel, the roads they have to travel. For example, some candidate is traveling from Poonch to Surankot, or let's say Rajouri to Buddhal area. So that route has to be covered. So it's a huge.
It's a mammoth exercise, and I'm going to ask General Sanjay Kulkarni this. General Kulkarni, a division-sized force would be required to protect all the candidates in the 90 assembly constituencies. And of course, Mr. Vaid has seen many such successful elections. He's supervised many of them. But what is the larger message? Tell our viewers that what is the larger message that India is giving out with this surprise announcement of Jammu and Kashmir elections today?
Thank you, Sandeep. First and foremost, I would go along with Mr. Vaid for the challenges that are faced, because I happened to be there in Doda from 96 to 99, and I saw one of it. And I saw the kind of festivities that these elections are associated with. It needs, and because those are the days militancy was at its peak, and then the elections were announced, and I found all these people from Saruri to Mr. Abdullah to all kinds of candidates, even addressing 20 people, 25 people, 30 people, not large rallies or something like that. It was
Yes.
wonderful. First and foremost, there's a festive feeling which I noticed amongst the people, and subsequently also there is a lot, steam that comes out, and a lot of these things happen. So it's, for me personally speaking, good thing. If
Right.
elections do take place, it's a good thing because people, they can't blame their own political leaders for what is not happening on ground, because much that anybody else do. Secondly, of course, it also would lead to what you were all discussing earlier.
Yes.
People like Rashid. Now, Rashid is a person who's been in jail for almost treason, all kinds of things that they are, disruptive, decisive forces that he represents. Those are the kind of people get elected. These elections also tell you that what's there in the mind of the people. There are a lot of development taking place, a whole lot of things happening, but the mind is also very important. You see what
Right.
is happening in countries. You could have development, but then the mind is working somewhere else. And that is where very important. Lots of development is taking place. People are aware, and people are
Yes.
wanting to take advantage and are taking advantage of the development, be it in the fields of tourism, trade, education,
Absolutely.
everything and anything. But when it comes to the mindset, we'll get to know in these assembly elections what is the kind of mindset and what kind of candidates are being thrown up. As regards the safety and security is concerned, yes, a major challenge for the police. There's no denying the fact. But as regards the armed forces are concerned, all over the countryside, whether it be because they are being conducted in 3 phases.
Yes.
If supposing it's Kishtwar and Doda in phase 1, Rajouri and Punj in phase 2, and Jammu, Kathua, Samba in phase 3, it can be handled. It is
Right.
nothing that it can't be handled. It is very much doable. It conveys to everyone, to Pakistan, to all the people who are supporters of Pakistan, that despite and disruption that they were wanting to do,
Yes.
and try and show the image of India that all this was facade and they actually didn't want elections, is now being proved wrong. India
Right.
wanted elections. India is willing to go along with it and see what, how people throw up, what kind of government comes up. Is so much better. So, and therefore, it's almost like an egg on the face of Pakistan, egg on the face of all the people in India who are supporting Pakistan, and
Right.
realize it. Wow. Irrespective of whatever it is, the elections are being held, and now there will
Absolutely.
be a festive mood. But security, we have as a challenge. We have to be careful because one odd deaths here, killings there, firings there, do lead to a little bit of a problem, and
Right.
postponing this, that, and everything. But I think it's a good thing, Sandeep, that
Yes.
elections will be held.
It's a
we will
good
get to
thing,
know
and absolutely, we get to know the pulse of the people. Nothing like an election to tell you what the people actually think of the changes. And I'm going to ask Sajid Yousuf Shah this. He joins us from Srinagar. Sajid is with the BJP. Sajid, tell us firstly, how much of a surprise was these announcement of the elections today by the Election Commission, and what do you think the mood of the people is now, given that you've conducted a very successful parliamentary election? You saw record turnout over 65% in Jammu and Kashmir. What's the mood on the ground right now with the election announcement?
Thank you, Sandeep. First of all, I think it's a welcome step taken by the ECI, because I think that it's the right time to announce the elections, and I think the elections the dates has already finalized. And when it comes to the mood of the people, if you will see the parliament elections in the Jammu and Kashmir, a lot of people vote for the Injury Sheet. Some people vote for the National Conference and the BJP in Jammu region. But nowadays, the people of the North Kashmir, they say that Injury Sheet is in the jail. So we have wasted our vote. So I don't think so that people from the North Kashmir, they are going to vote again for the Injury Sheet, because they know very well that yes, he was a good speaker in the parliament, but the thing is now he's in jail. Maybe I heard that his brother may contest elections from the Langate constituency, and I'm sure that he will win because the people of the Langate constituency, they are with the Indian issue. But when it comes to other places of the Jammu and Kashmir, we have seen the BJP may open its political desk in the Kashmir Valley this time. We are hopeful, because when we see the lot of things, the change which has happened from the last almost a decade now, we have seen on the ground that a lot of the Hurriyat leaders, they are right now
Yes.
the bar. Some of them are dead. So there is no hartal call, there is no band call. So I think the voter turnout, it may increase better than the parliament elections, because a lot of people, I met the candidates last time in the parliament elections, people used to say, even the young generation, young people, they used to say that we want to contest elections, but we are from this place, we can't contest from the North Kashmir. So this time, you will see the lot of young faces, they are going to contest elections. Maybe some may win or some may not. So that is
Right.
a secondary question. But I think it's a welcome step. If anybody, irrespective of any political party, if people are going to vote them, I think it's a people's mandate.
It's a people's mandate indeed. That's the slap on the face of the Pakistan army, as General Kulkarni was mentioning, Aditya. But you know, the big question now is, Aditya, what next after these elections, after the assembly elections? At what point do you see statehood being granted to Jammu and Kashmir? The government said that very clearly, that it's not a permanent state, the union territory thing. When will statehood be an issue in Jammu and Kashmir?
You know, firstly, I'll tell you, Sandeep, the two things are very much clear. You know, even if electoral democracy is being restored as it should have been,
Yes.
perhaps earlier, but there are security challenges that need to be looked into. One, that prior to 5th August 2019, whatever rules that were there, whatever guarantees that were being given, whatever the formation of the government or you know, the kind of ministries that they had, will not remain so.
Right.
It is a new Jammu and Kashmir.
Yes.
It is under the purview of the Indian Constitution.
Right.
Just like any other state or union territory in India, it will get same amount of rights,
Yes.
same amount of ministries,
Right.
and same amount of governance mechanism. This
Right.
is one. Second, as the most critical part,
Yes.
is that law and order,
Right.
which earlier was under the chief minister, and the chief minister was the chief of the unified command,
Yes.
will not be so.
Right.
The LG will have the law and order. LG and MHA together will decide who to appoint in you know, across Jammu and Kashmir police,
Right.
and LG will chair the unified command meeting that continues to happen now.
That
so
sounds like a Delhi model.
it is a Delhi or a Puducherry
Delhi
model.
or Puducherry
Yes,
model,
absolutely.
yes.
So that will be there.
Right.
We might see statehood restoration either prior or post elections,
Yes.
because that's a commitment that Home Minister Amit Shah has made inside the parliament. But I am also of the opinion,
Yes.
because I've watched Kashmir over the last 2 decades, that law and order has to be with MHA.
Yes.
If law and order goes to the chief minister, then we'll see the same vicious circle of law and order being disturbed completely.
Absolutely.
Whatever gains have been made post 2017 or post 2019
Right.
will go completely wasted.
Absolutely.
So it's an
That's-
important message. It's an
Right.
important narrative set by India that we walk the talk.
Yes.
Elections will happen no matter who comes to power. It could be national conference, it could be somebody else. But law and order, national security, sovereignty, and our territorial integrity
Yes.
is of immense value
And
the top
non-negotiable.
priority. Non-negotiable.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yes. Thanks for putting that in perspective, Aditya. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us this evening as we speak about elections in Jammu and Kashmir and the next steps in that election will result in statehood for Jammu and Kashmir.